Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today we have someone super special on. But before we get into that, we wanted to give a shout out to Ghost Energy, who is not a sponsor,
Yet,
but we will be drinking it anyways.
very loudly, probably.
Oh,
That
we've
was
got
a
a third
good
pop.
pop.
That was a good one. We've got a third pop. Melanie, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking liquid death. It's actually just sparkling water, but everyone at work thinks I'm drinking a beer at 9 a.m.
That is amazing. Their marketing is on point.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I know. And you know what? Tyler would totally love the sparkling water, the spicy water.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We just had a whole discussion about how she had kidney stones because that was her pregnancy craving. She drank it
No,
so
Yeah.
much.
no, you're
Yeah.
kidding. Because I drink like 3 of these a day. I'm like obsessed with them right now. They give you
Are you
kidney stones?
pregnant? You don't
No.
have no? Okay, then you're fine.
Okay.
No, I was drinking like I had a soda stream and I had the bubblies and I was probably drinking six, seven, eight of them a day. It was like back to back. It was like my biggest craving when I was pregnant, and it landed me in the hospital with kidney stones at 25 weeks. So that was fun.
But why? It's just water, isn't it? Like why?
No, apparently because of the carbonation, it crystallizes.
Oh my God.
Not to scare you. Enjoy your beverages. Trust me, I still drink sparkling water. And I still did after I had the kidney stones. I was like, listen, makes me happy.
Well,
I
you
need to
know
be
what?
happy.
Bodies are so weird when we're pregnant
Yeah,
anyways.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm sure you're fine.
I'm sure you're fine. Enjoy your liquid death. Please don't let us ruin it.
No, you're good. I just thought I was doing a good thing by being healthy by drinking water instead of Red Bull every day, twice a day.
Mm.
But,
I
You
think
know
you're
what?
probably your heart
Yeah.
healthier.
it's
Yes.
not kidney healthier.
You know, whatever. It's a give and take.
Gotta pick one, yeah. I have 2 kidneys, I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Oh my
so
gosh.
who do we have? We have Melanie Mar here.
Well, we've literally we spoiled it right at the beginning. But yes, we have Melanie Mar, author of Stars and Lightning. I don't know if you guys are on video. It's right behind me. JV has her own physical copy.
Yeah, and it's such a
Um,
gorgeous cover. It's this matte black,
yes.
beautiful.
Texture
The
wise,
texture,
the soft touch. Oh, love it.
very
Thank
silky.
you. I love it. I was trying to see if I could find one over here, but I only have like I tried to do sprayed edges myself and it did not work. So I mean, but the front is
Ooh,
fine. So there it is.
that's
It's
really cool. I've thought about doing a sprayed edge to my books, just like using like spray paint and stuff, but it
Yeah.
scares me.
No, I mean this one is now my daughter's like she colors on it when I'm working. So
Oh,
it's her
those are
favorite.
her annotations, Mom.
yeah.
Oh, that's her favorite chapter right there.
So Melanie, you posted on Instagram the other day that you had some big reveal coming up.
Hmm.
Did you ever end up doing it?
So it's in the works. It actually doesn't have anything to do with this series. It's actually something else, but I can totally talk to y'all about it. I'm organizing something.
Okay. So when do you think?
Yeah, I mean it is on my Instagram. It's not like a big secret, but that date was like in regards to that other project.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought maybe, it's like your next book release or
I
a
wish
cover.
I was due to release it in July. But I decided to rewrite it because I decided I hated it. So I'm currently rewriting it, the sequel. But it's really good. It's way better now, so it's okay. It's
You
really
know, I get that. How long ago did you write the original manuscript for this one?
like half a year ago, and I was in this really toxic work environment, and I think like that kind of bled into my writing. It just wasn't like I wasn't feeling it. And when I write, I need to feel what I'm writing. Like I write one sentence per minute. Honestly, I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel that, and then I move on. And that other one, it was just very surface level, and
It
I could
feels
not.
like you're trying to pull it out of yourself.
Mhm.
Like feels like labor sometimes, right?
It was very
Yeah.
labor, yeah. So I was
Yeah,
like,
so you wrote the manuscript and then you said, "Nope, never mind. I'm going to rewrite the whole thing."
yeah.
Wow.
Which I think sometimes is harder than just writing from scratch, right?
I was hoping that this time around I wouldn't do that, but it seems to be like a pattern because I did that with Of Stars and Lightning. Like the original draft did not have the trials. I don't know if
Mhm.
JV you've already read it, but the trials weren't in there. Like that's something I did in 3 months. I rewrote it and I put the trials in. So the first one didn't
Wow.
have that.
Was
Uh,
that because somebody said you should have it or was just like like just an inspiration and you felt like, oh, this needs out, this needs to be in the book?
So actually, I really am happy that I get to share this. But when I was query, I don't know if that's the correct word, querying of Stars and Lightning, the first draft, like to agents, I did get a call back and a full request from an agent, and she ultimately passed, but she wanted to have a call with me. And I was like, okay. And she told me, she was like, look, your story's good, your writing's good. It's just each book, even if it's part of a series, needs to have its own plot. Whereas somebody that has never read your books can come in and read like book three, book two, and still kind of get satisfaction from it. And she was like,
Mhm.
your
A whole
book,
arc.
yeah. So she was
Yeah.
like, your book, you can tell that it's being set up for the next book, but there's nothing like actually happening in there that somebody could enjoy if they didn't read the second book. Something like that.
Okay.
Somebody should have sat down with Sarah J. Maas about guitar because I
Yeah.
hear that all the time where they're like, the first one's okay, the second one's great, but the first one is like all of the world building and all that stuff. I'm like,
But she still put in there, she did it because she put in there that at the end where Feyre kind of has those trials too with Amarantha. So
mm,
that was her little like it was I think my agent called it curtains and pillars. So it's like you have the pillars of your story, but your curtains need to connect to the pillars. And they need
oh,
to and your curtains can't be like dipping, right? And she was like, your curtains are dipping. So you need to have your pillars closer so your curtains can stay like that.
You needed to
I
have
would,
like a complete story arc in this book while also leaving room to continue a thread.
You have like two story arcs, or the way I do it is like you have your book plot and then you have your series plot, and you have to weave those in every single book that you do.
Yeah.
So she told me that, and I was like, okay. And she was like, you can rewrite and resubmit.
Oh,
But by
that's nice.
that time, yeah, but by that time I had already Conquest had been like, I'll sign
mhm.
you with your original copy. And I was like, no, I don't want my original copy. Like the agent made sense. And I got like that passion to rewrite it. And Conquest was like, well, we will sign you without a manuscript and you can just turn in.
Wow.
She was like, you can just turn in whatever you want whenever you want it. And she was like, the thing is that you can teach literary like workings, but you can't teach creativity. So she
Right.
was like,
Mm.
go on, go do what you gotta do. And I rewrote it and I stayed with Conquest, which I'm really happy that I did. My future projects, I'll probably query that agent because she's just like,
She
changed
took
my
the
life.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I messaged her. I don't know if this was unprofessional, but once Of Stars and Lightning came out and it was getting good reviews, I emailed her from that same thread and I was like, hey girl, I don't know if this is like appropriate, but I just wanted to tell you that I took your advice and I published the book and it's doing real good. And she was so happy. She was like, I'm so happy to hear that. Please
Oh,
query me with your next writing projects. And I was like, yeah, okay.
We're excited. We can't wait for book number 2 to come out.
oh God.
Do you have okay. I think I've seen pictures of it on your Instagram because that's what I do. I troll Instagram. Are you willing to, wow, you got really bright suddenly.
Yeah, there.
Willing to reveal what the title will be?
Yeah, it's actually Of Seas and Storms, and I
Ooh.
wish that I could like share my screen. I don't think I can, but I actually did the cover myself. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. And I had been
Ooh.
struggling with the title, um, like the effects, but we finally got it right. I don't even know if you'll be able to see.
Nice.
Oh,
It's
Oh my,
beautiful.
that's gorgeous.
I know. I love it. I'm in love with it. And I actually did the cover for book three. When I was supposed to be writing, I was like, you know what I should do instead? Just do the cover for book three. And that I had
Yeah.
an
Sometimes you need a
email.
different creative outlet. I
So I did
totally get
that.
that. Sometimes I'll be designing stickers or my merch boxes or something because I need
We're
a
doing podcasts.
different, or doing podcasts because you need a different creative outlet because you don't want your writing to turn into like this thing that you dread.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I have a
Um,
question as a non-author, because you guys are vibing. You understand what each other is talking about. I can't understand how somebody can go, you need pillars and curtains, and then your brain goes, I can visualize that. I understand what you mean. So, can you explain, like, as an author, when they say you need these things, how does your brain coordinate that to the changes you need to make?
so your pillars are basically your scenes that you cannot cut out of your book, that they are needed to move forward. Your pillars are like your framework, your skeleton, things that you cannot remove. Your
Okay.
curtains are things that you could change, and ultimately the story would be the same. It's like if your character goes to the store or if your character goes to, I don't know,
The movies.
the movies. Yeah, that could change.
Okay.
So the curtains, yeah, and she told me your pillars, which are your basic plot points that you cannot change, are too far apart. And then my filler, essentially, the curtains, um, they're happening too much. So she was just basically like, you don't have something anchoring the book as a whole, as
Okay.
an individual. So that's what that is.
That's really cool.
So Melanie, I'm really interested. So I write romance. I am not a fantasy writer because I think the world building and the towns and the mapping and your wielders' powers, for example, it blows my mind when people can write fantasy. So
Hmm.
I need to know, like, first of all, did you plot all of Stars and Lightning before you started writing it? Are you more of a pantser? How in the world do you come up with this?
So I've been reading fantasy since I was like 12. So English is not my first language. I was born in Mexico. I'm Mexican. And the only way to really learn a language is by reading.
Yeah,
Really. Like I stand by that. So
agreed.
middle school, high school, I would just read. I read fantasy, YA, dystopian. So I already had that sort of like way to dissect, yeah, to dissect like those books in my mind.
Yeah,
Um, so when it came to writing and creative writing, it just kind of came natural because that's something that I spent so much time doing already.
yeah.
But no, I am not a plotter. And it's funny that you mentioned that because last month I went to a convention where I spoke with Kristen Cast, the author of the House of Night
Oh,
series. I love her. She's amazing. We got
wow.
along so well. I spoke with her and the author of Belladonna.
Yes.
And
Meladonia? Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, they were
Okay.
so cool and so down to earth.
Jealous.
They bought my books. I know. I was like, is this real? Right.
Oh my
But
That's
gosh.
insane. How awesome.
and I spoke with him on this panel, right? And we were actually talking about that, about plotting and
Yeah,
or being a pantser. And I was the last one to go. And it's funny because everybody was a plotter. And
yeah.
I was like, well, I'm
And
sorry to
you're
say.
not.
I'm sorry
Stephen
to say
King isn't a
I'm
plotter either. He's a pantser.
really.
Worked out for him. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Stephen, and I'm a pantser.
Yeah,
Because
you are.
people are like, oh no, you need to plot your stories and your character arcs, and I'm like, oh, but I don't do that. Does that mean I'm not a real author? And then Stephen King posted, it's like, I'm a pantser. I'm like, hallelujah.
You know what? It's called intuitive writing because I
Yeah,
feel like we're just very in tune with what's going on with our characters that we just kind of, let them do their
let them do their
thing.
thing.
And yeah, no, and I remember saying that and I was like, no, I don't plot. And Kristen Cast like audibly gasped next to me. She was like, I've heard of people like you. And I was like, "What?" And I was
Well,
like,
especially for fantasy, I think
yeah.
that it's I don't know, but because I don't write fantasy, I'm like, oh, is that a requirement? Do you have to are there pantser fantasy authors?
I mean,
There
it's
is.
it's worked for me. Honestly, like it's not
Ta-da.
that hard because I mean, for me at least, you can solve anything. Like the mind is limitless. If you
I
come up,
agree.
Mhm.
if you have a plot hole, just oh, well, I'll just
Come
patch
up
it.
with something.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's fantasy. There's no wrong answer.
That
So,
is so true. It's so open. You can literally do literally anything
mhm.
with
That is the
anything.
nice thing. I think,
Yeah.
do you find that so as a romance author and contemporary romance, not even historical, I feel like readers tend to be pretty critical. I would think that as a fantasy romance author, because you have so much creative freedom, you probably get away with a lot more, right? Because if I write contemporary romance, people are like, oh no, this is not how that works. And versus
Yeah.
with fantasy,
Hmm.
it's like, well, no, it does in my world.
Yeah,
I
actually they
just
have
wield fire.
yeah, no, and they
I
have like
make you
some
warm.
things like I catch like some plot holes and stuff and I'm like,
Yeah.
why has no one mentioned this? Like why does no one question my stuff? But so far nobody has. And I mean, if
Forgiving
they did, I'd
readers.
be like, that's just the way it works. Like I can't know what to tell you, you know?
I think it has a lot to do, like you said, JV, just then about forgiving readers. Like we had a conversation about this on one of our podcasts, how people are too forgiving when it comes to plots. And it's like, if you're sitting there dissecting every single sentence, you're not having a good time. And if you are, that's just the person that you are. But I'm reading a book right now that has so many typos and it keeps pulling me out of the
It's
story because I
distracting.
have to go back and reread it. So like there's forgiving and then there's like just completely being blind to
Uh-huh.
it, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but I think that forgiving writers or forgiving readers, I think, are a blessing. But also fantasy, literally, who can you say how can you say that they're doing something wrong. You don't
Yeah.
know. It's not your book. It's whatever they've come up with. So,
But I feel like also like what you were saying about typos and stuff, it's also a reflection of the author because if you did a work and you are putting it out and that's what you're proud of, like I mean, I know my book has typos. I know a lot of like we're human, right? But if you're
mhm.
putting out work that obviously needed another like look through or that obviously needed
Or
like
an editor.
an editor, a little bit of help
Mhm.
like to craft that idea and make it better, it's just a disservice to the author themselves and it's really like disheartening to see. And especially when the author's like I mean a lot of times they're not proud of their typos and stuff
Mhm.
and that's okay. Like, we get it. But it's those that like they get repeatedly told like your plot is lacking or this could have been better, this could have been better, and they don't like grow from it. So
Yeah.
forgiving is
Constructive
one
criticism.
thing,
Yeah.
but you have to be proud of the craft that you put out, and for
I
your authors
agree.
to do that.
I
For your
think that
readers
Yeah.
to do
that
that.
writing is very much a learned craft, right? And
Mhm.
hopefully you get better. I feel like I'm becoming a better writer the more I write. Obviously, that's the only thing you become a better writer is you write more.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, typos inevitably, right? I mean, I just went back through my first book and I found a fucking, excuse me, bleep typo. And I was like, and I have my developmental editor, I have my line editor, I have
Mhm.
a whole ARC team that reaches out to me
Betas,
beforehand. It's like, hey, I
alphas.
spotted this, and I'm like scrambling to see because we get tunnel vision, we're in this so
Mhm.
much, our brains. And still I found a typo and I'm like, I spent thousands of dollars getting this edited. But of course, if it's like every page has something, and there are traditionally published books too where I'm like, up typo, and it kind of makes me feel good. I'm like, see?
I don't even want to like traditionally published books right now are so hard to like you like to guess. Like for example, I'm very much like a pick up something by its cover, right?
Mhm.
And I picked up this book from Target just because it looked cute. I don't even know if you could see it, but
Oh,
I
that's
like
a
the little
really pretty
edges.
cover.
It looks
Ooh.
pretty, right?
Ooh.
And then I read through it, and it was in third person, and I was like, cool. And then I got home and I started reading it, and I was like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's okay, but it's just like
Yeah.
the traditional space right now is so oversaturated with very simple stories, you know?
And all
I
the
I agree.
same. Like it's
Yes,
like
I
you have
agree.
to hit a specific mark on every single book and then in turn. That's why I love indies
Indies
because
are
you have
great.
the freedom to create whatever you want and every book while it might be within the same genre is different. But you're right, with traditional, like if you're going to give me a romance, I know like mostly cuz like JV has explained it to me. I know that there's like the three pillars you have to hit. So I know at the end I'm going to get in a third act breakup that I freaking hate. But
You're getting
it's
a Dark
part
Night of
of
the
it,
Soul.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is nice being indie and smaller press. Like you get to break some rules
You don't
Mhm.
have to
occasionally.
market. You don't have to treat it as a business. I mean, you do have to market,
Yeah,
but you don't have to treat it like a business. You don't have to sell what works. You can sell what you want.
Yeah,
totally.
it's kind of
I
nice.
think I'd like to go back really quickly. I'm gonna pull this so that you can actually frickin' see it. There we go. I'd like to go back and let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
When did you first get the inkling to write? You said you started reading when you were really young, but when did you go, I'd like to write something myself?
Oh, I have such a vivid memory of this. So I was really
Oof.
into anime and manga when I was in high school. And one of the mangas I was really into was called what's it called? Skip Beat, and it's like a just like this little like love story with this actress and an actor. But the artist like had a hiatus midway, so he like or the author and he stopped writing it right in the middle of the
Oh.
arc where they were gonna get together, and I was like
So you
no.
were like, I'm gonna do it.
It was like 200 chapters in, okay? And I was
Oh,
already
oh,
addicted. And I know there's like 30
awesome.
volumes, right? And I was like, no way. And I wrote it. I wrote a fan fiction. I was like, no, like this isn't, I'm gonna pretend like this didn't happen. And my fan fiction was like, this picks up from chapter 264 because they didn't do it for us, you know?
Oh, wow.
So I wrote a fan fiction. It actually was really popular on fanfiction.net. I didn't think it was gonna be popular, but I was getting like comments like, where's the next chapter? And I was
How
like,
old were you?
high school, I'm sorry. But that's when I started writing, and that's the first time that I wrote something continuous. Because before it was just like little chapters or scenes or whatever for school, you know.
So you were in
Um,
high
Mhm.
school then when you did that?
Yeah, I was, I think, a freshman and a sophomore, and I wrote, I think, a good 30 chapters, and then I was like, "Hey
Wow.
guys," and then I closed it, and I was like, "That's it, the end," you know? And even to this day, I get like favorites and likes and comments, and I'm like, "This will never leave me." Like,
Wait, wait, wait.
Never.
Did you write it under Melanie Mar?
no, I didn't.
Oh, you're gonna have to drop the the pen name because
Doesn't
I
make
want to
sense
look
though
this up.
because mine it picks up from chapter 260 something.
Yeah.
But now he decided to write it. So, there's the actual story going on. So mine is really just kind of like an alternate universe, I guess. Uh
It's not similar to yours because that would be funny if he
I
read
didn't
yours and
read
was
it.
like,
I was so
yeah.
pissed. I was so pissed that I was like,
Oh.
that doesn't exist to me. Like just nothing. Like I have no idea what happened after. Yeah.
Wow. I love that. I love it. You're like, you know what? The original author can suck it. Mine is better.
I was like, mine, I made my peace with it. I had my closure. Like they got together, they got hit by cars, and everything was
Oh,
okay.
damn.
Wait, you
Romeo
wrote
and
that?
Juliet that.
I mean, like, no, well, it's because I was really into like the whole trope where it's like injury, like helping, like, like
Oh, the
helping,
caregiving?
yeah, caregiving. So one of those big chapters that everybody loved, like, yeah, I
Oh, and
made somebody.
especially in anime. It's like a big deal.
It was
Mhm.
so good.
Oh, now I
Yeah,
want to read it.
it was very intense. Like, I don't think the real story has any violence like that, but I was like, make them get hit by cars
You're
and
like,
love
but
each
it does in my world.
yeah.
You're like, but the actual person getting hit by the car is the author. It just in my
I don't even
brain.
know. Like, I hope they're doing okay. I tried to pick it back
Yeah.
up, but I was just so mad. I was like, this isn't, they're not kissing yet, and it's already been like 10 years they've been writing it. Like, I'm just gonna
I
keep.
cannot. You have some serious pain. That is the slowest of slow burns I've ever heard in my entire
And then
I
they made
life.
know.
like they made a live action drama, and I was so in love with it. And I think they kissed like once in the drama, and I was like, no. I was like, why? Like the story was so good, and you guys are making them peck like if they're like 10 years old.
Oh.
So I was very mad. I was upset. I was like, no. So that's when I started writing out of spite, I guess.
So what is like the origin story for of Stars and Lightning? Like how did it come to you?
I was actually postpartum with my first daughter. She's currently over there screaming, but
Oh no,
no,
we
she's
will
really
Baby,
good.
cry.
don't cry.
She's with her dad. She's fine.
Okay.
But she's very clingy, and she's always been very clingy. So postpartum, I was just like trapped in my couch. I had no time for myself. She would never go down in the crib. And it was very, I feel like people don't really talk about how depressing and lonely it is. Even with
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
even with a husband, even with my family, like it's just, you completely lose all self identity. And I remember being on the couch, like caring for my daughter, and I was crying, and I was like, I don't know what makes me happy anymore. Like nothing
Yeah.
makes me happy.
It's such
And
a life-changing period. I mean, as a woman, you completely lose yourself.
you really do.
Yeah.
And you're like, I should be happy. I have my baby, but then you're not. And it's that guilt of like not
Uh-huh.
knowing why you can't just be okay.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, what made me happy before? Like, what is something that I remember making me happy? And I instantly thought reading, because I had stopped reading, like as an adult, I was like, okay. And I opened my Kindle, and the very first book that was like recommended, I downloaded it and I read it. And it was actually
Wow.
Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, the
Oh,
first one. I loved it. I read it all in like I think a week. I like with my baby, on me. I cried, I laughed, and I was like, wow. And that's where I started reading again. And, throughout my postpartum journey, I ended up getting to Kingdom of Ash from the Throne of Glass, which is the last Throne of Glass book. And as I was reading that, I was like, this main character is so badass. Like, I think
Mm.
there should be more main characters like the main character in that series. And that's how I thought of Soul. She's not like the main character in that series right now, but her arc evolves so much throughout the six
Yeah.
books. Um, and actually, the very first scene, of Stars and Lightning, I didn't have a story. I only had a scene at the beginning, and that
mm-hmm.
scene was when they first
Such a
met.
pantser.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was like, I just had one scene, and then everything else revolved around that. Yeah, and it was I think in the original draft chapter 4, I think, where they met, like where her court met her at the town she's at.
Mhm.
And then so I wrote chapter 4, and then I wrote chapter 5 and 6, and then I went back and I wrote chapter 1, 2, 3. And then I
Oh
was like,
gosh.
"Whoa, like I've written like 6 chapters of the same thing. Like maybe I can do something, right?
Yeah.
I just kept writing. But that first draft I wrote on my phone, like chronologically on Word while my daughter was asleep on me.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever consider publishing when you started writing it, or did you write it for yourself?
I wrote it just, I guess, for myself. I don't know. I don't know at what point I decided that I wanted to get serious about it. I think it was when I had like 15 chapters of consistent like storytelling. I was like, maybe I can make this something, I was just writing, I guess, because I felt called to do that. Like it was something that made me
Mhm.
happy when I really needed it the most.
And you said you wrote it on your phone?
Yeah, to this
Like
day, honestly,
this?
yeah. And no,
Girl.
you're gonna laugh, but I got like 3 laptops and I have like an iPad because I was like, I'm gonna write on like a big author, like a big girl.
Mhm.
I can only write on my phone, even now. Like the second draft that I'm doing,
What?
That is insane.
yeah, like the second draft that I'm doing, I literally just like do a new like Word document. I write it and then I paste it into my manuscript and then I delete it and I go back and I'm writing chapters like on that same document and then I go back and I just paste it in a new
What?
one.
I cannot even imagine doing that. That to me, like that is mind blowing.
It's the only
She's
thing
the
that works.
ultimate pantser.
It's the only thing
That
that
Like,
works. I don't know. It's like I'll be at work and I'm like, okay, hold on. And I read a sentence and then I go back to doing my reports and then I go to the bathroom and I continue the sentence and then I'm on a red light and I continue the sentence
I mean, that is pretty smart.
because I don't have time
Speaking,
to sit down, like, so that works
yeah,
because I do it throughout the day.
that
that's
speaking of
great.
reports, so I know you on your Instagram profile you say you're also a social worker, right?
Mhm.
Does that in any way like influence your storytelling, or do you purposely like try to
I mean, I've always been a social. I have a bachelor's in psychology, so I've always been really into the human mind. And my family, like, I have doctors, psychologists, and all that.
Mhm.
And as a social worker, like, I primarily work with the immigrant population and foster care.
Mm.
I
Tough
don't,
work?
yeah, yeah, I don't think my work influences my writing, but the way my mind works influences both, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, I see the traumas that the kids I work with have, my characters have too. It's because
Yeah.
I feel like every human has their trauma. Like nobody's
sure.
really
Mhm.
free of anything. Um, so I wouldn't say that my work influences my writing. I think it's just something that I've always been in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it
I
does.
think Yarrow Soul definitely has that caregiving in her, like the caring of people, right?
She
So,
Yeah, I was just thinking like a little while ago how because they say that like as an author you kind of write pieces of you. I don't know if that
mhm,
happens, like your
Yes.
characters always have a little piece of your soul.
mhm.
And Soul herself is very much who I am when I think before I speak. Like
Uh-huh.
my mask, like the thing that I show people.
Yeah.
And then like Sawyer, she's very much like my
Mhm.
reaction. She's like what I want to say without thinking. She's like my deepest piece of my soul. I relate with her.
She's my spirit animal.
I love
Yeah.
Sawyer.
Yeah, me
He's
too.
so freaking best. Especially in book two. Gosh, she's so confused all the time in book two. And it's kind of
Oh.
um and then Nina, she's kind of like what I wish I could be. I wish I could be as like optimistic as her. She really has a chill,
Mhm.
laid back personality. She's like, well, I mean, we'll
I
figure
wish
it
I had
out.
that too.
Yeah. So like, all characters that authors work with are a little piece of themselves and yeah, Soul is very much like me and she has that like oldest daughter thing, because she
Mhm.
took care of Leo, she took care of Leo's sister, she took care of her aunt. Her mom
Yeah.
was there, but then she wasn't. So, yeah.
Yeah, that cliffhanger too, by the way.
What happened?
Well, we're not gonna say it on here, but I messaged her afterwards. I was like, excuse me.
Oh,
How
What do
dare
you
you?
mean?
I didn't even know like that last chapter was actually midway through the first draft. It wasn't the
Oh,
original.
interesting.
Yeah. So I I
So
I didn't even think I was like, yeah, this already happened, but to you guys it
they
hadn't already happened.
do you want to take a moment and describe to our listeners, maybe give us a synopsis of what the book is? I'm telling you right now, you need to read this book. It
Yes.
was so good. I devoured it. I loved every single character, the plot, the story, everything. It's still my favorite fantasy that I've ever read.
Oh my God.
Um, and the fact that there's more coming, you guys. I'm gonna pass it back off to Melanie here, but I just had to gush a little bit. Unless JB, you want to also gush.
No, I mean, it's an amazing book. I felt like when I was reading it, I was there. I could
I
like
was
picture
so
it all. I could
yarrow.
almost feel it and smell it. Like
Yeah.
it was great.
It was
Um,
so immersive, right?
very
Like
immersive.
you were like in it. Like you're with these characters, with the court. You are going through these things with them and you're like a phantom just hanging out with the group.
Yeah,
I
like a
Like,
shadow. I could smell the
yeah.
gin.
Yeah.
oh, you're so gross.
They're great. So give us a quick little like blurb. What's of
Yeah.
Stars and Lightning about?
I'm really bad at this because I feel like when I explain it, it sounds very generic. But then if you read it, I feel like it's not as generic as it sounds when I
No,
give the blurb.
it's not.
But it's basically about this girl. Her name's Sol Yarrow. She lives in a small town called Harrow, and she's just kind of been living there with her aunt, chilling, doing her thing. And then all of a sudden, her town gets attacked by a breed of demons called the Jinn. And at the same time, a group of strangers show up at her town, and they're like, "Hey, so you're actually like super important in our world, and
Like
you're the
super.
yeah." You're the heiress of a magical kingdom of magic. And Soul is like, there's no such thing as magic. And they're
She's
like,
like,
yeah, there is,
no, I'm
girl.
not.
And you're like the number one person. So Soul finds out her mother was the queen of this kingdom called Rymir. Um, and she goes back to Rymir to kind of take her birthright. And because her town was overrun by these jinn, she goes over there with her court, the people that came to kidnap her, according to her. While
Mhm.
she's there, she has to kind of deal with the political sides of things. Her uncle's on the throne when he shouldn't be, and she kind of tries to defy some of the traditions that go on in the South. And at the same time, she finds that she is way in over her head when she tries to do that. And yeah, so that's usually what I say when I explain the book, but I feel like there's so much more that I can't like articulate. So I'm always like, just read it. Like, please just
Yes,
it's not as
just read it.
bland as it sounds.
I need to grab it because oh God, I just made out with my mic.
Are
You
you
know what's
deep
so
throating
nice
it?
is you know what's so nice is we're just gonna move past that. Is hearing the author say the names of the people and like the towns and all of that stuff because I'm not gonna lie, my brain either dyslexics it and it's not at all what it's supposed to be,
Dyslexics
or I'm
it?
just like, yeah, you heard what I said, or it just like in my brain I shorten it. Like
It makes something
there's
up.
yeah, there's a book, a Six of Crows I was trying to read. I can't remember what the guy's name was. It was like Rick Smuthmuth or something like that. I don't know. That's not it at all. And I was like, your name's Rick now, buddy. Okay, because I'm not freaking pronouncing that in my brain every time. Um,
And I don't think
but
I
I wanted
pronounced
to,
it. I don't pronounce it right because I do have an audiobook, and the narrator was like, "How do you pronounce your things?" And I was like, a girl, the way they come out in my head, I don't even think I can articulate. Like, you just say whatever you want, and I'll say what you say. But
yeah.
I haven't had time to listen to my audiobook fully, so I don't know how she pronounces everything. So I may be pronouncing it different than she is. Honestly, go with what she's doing. But the way I pronounce it is just the way that it's always been like in my head when I was writing. So
Then that's the way it's supposed to be.
dang. Well
I
then,
Did you have any say over who narrated it? Because I have your audiobook too. Did you have any say in who narrated it?
yeah, there was auditions, and
And why did you pick a British voice?
because in my head it just comes out like that. Like
Awesome, I love that.
when I'm writing and I read back my things, I read it out in British. Not good. I'm not good at accents, but it just has to have that sort of fancy little like accent dialect. I don't know. And when I heard her, I was like, that sounds like my head voice. So
That's
that
awesome.
one.
Mm. That's so cool. I just want to take a second. For those of you who are on audio, you're not going to see this, but in her book, one of the things that I loved the most about it is we're talking about pronouncing things. And right in the beginning, she has a whatever this is called. I
A
don't know what the
legend?
author,
A
a
legend,
legend.
yeah.
Thank you. Of the characters, the gods, and it'll say like Emberdon, god of fire and war, and then it's like EM-BER-DOHN. So you know exactly how to pronounce it
Whoa,
in your
whoa, wait, wait,
brain.
wait. Melanie, is that actually how you pronounce it?
You know what's funny? I Googled it. I was like, how to do phonic pronunciations? And I never got like a good, I was like, I would try to do translators. Like I put in the name of Emberdon and then see how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And it never came out right. So I was like, okay, like I sounded it out. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
how you actually do it, but I just sounded it out.
In my brain, it's Emberdon because you writ it that you writ it. You wrote it that
You're
way.
just making up
Oh my
stuff now.
god. Because you wrote it that way. But it was so helpful for me because reading fantasies, especially fantasies with maps. Listen, I love a good fantasy. If there's a map in the front of it, I'm ignoring that. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
need location, okay? I just need to know like what relative word we're using. But to have that as somebody who is going into a book who has no idea what this really is about, because I am a proud do not read the back of book reader. I just open it and start reading, and I'm
Me
like,
too.
whatever happens, happens. But to have that in the book was just like, it's the first time I've ever seen it. And I was like,
Really?
that is so cool to, yeah. Let's check in with you. How you feeling?
I
Are you
feel,
feeling more relaxed? You having a good
yeah.
time?
Yeah, I love
Okay, good.
talking.
Good.
Okay, so
Okay.
let's real quick take a minute because Melanie was so gracious to agree to give away a copy of Stars, a copy of Stars and Lightning, and we asked Melanie to pick a code word that we're going to ask listeners, viewers to message us if they would like to, a chance to win Melanie's book. So, Melanie, what is your code word?
So it's actually going to be the amount of books in my series, and that's going to be 6.
All right, so the code word is 6. We appreciate it. All right, so there's your code word, folks.
And what you're going to do is when you hear that word, you're going to reach out to Little Prince, send us a message, send us the word, and then you will be entered into a draw. We know not everybody likes a physical book, so let us know if you win, if you want a physical or a digital, and we'll sort it out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do what I did with Tyler, our first podcast episode. I want to do like a rapid fire
Okay.
I'm
round
so
with
glad
you,
you're doing
Melanie.
it and I'm not doing it because holy crap, my brain stopped working.
Oh
So
my
I'm gonna
God.
just ask you a question, and the first thing that pops into your head, okay? You got this.
Okay.
Nothing scary, I promise.
Okay.
All right. What's a current book you're reading?
Dang. It was called The Exorcism of Fairies.
Oh,
Pretty good.
indie trad?
I have no idea. I saw it on Kindle. I think it's indie. I saw it
The
on Kindle
Exorcism
and I
of.
clicked it and it's like an academia, dark academia. So I was like, yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
Add to cart, TBR.
I
Okay.
love it. Okay, what's a favorite fantasy world of yours that is not your own?
Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City.
All right.
I'll take back what I said about Sarah J. Maas. I'll edit out
No, just
out of
that. It's
that.
just no. Like I don't really like A Court of Thorns and Roses. I like Crescent City, the first one. The other ones, I'm gonna pretend they don't exist. But just
The
that first
books
one
are
is
like
really good.
literal bricks. They're so big.
I didn't know that because I read it on my Kindle. So until I saw the book in Walmart, I was like, God, I read that. Like I didn't even know.
How many pages is it? Like 700?
Like
Well,
9,
no.
a
Yeah,
thousand.
they're like almost 1,000.
Oh, wow, that is a brick.
Yeah,
You
it's
could
like a.
kill someone
I
with
don't,
that.
I don't know where. I don't think I have any.
I
No.
would get freaking what's the word with arthritis in my wrists or whatever. Just holding that book open.
Okay, next one. Paperback, hardcover, or ebook?
Ebook.
Nice.
Really?
I have a daughter that doesn't
What?
let me do anything, so of course it's ebook. It's on my phone.
Okay.
You
There
just,
you go.
yep, always have that handy. Okay, do you write to music or in silence?
Music.
Nice. Do you have a whole playlist depending on the book? That is not a rapid fire question I had written out, but now I'm interested.
No, it depends on the scene I'm writing. If I'm writing something sad, I will go with like rock stuff and yeah. So it just depends on the scene. Yeah.
You need to get yourself in the mood. I get it. All right. What magical power that you have in your book would you want if you lived in the world you created?
Oh,
Oh, you have to pick one.
honestly, it would be earth wielding because it's not just plants. It's not just flowers and plants. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's actually one of the most deadly ones that they have.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I
So
like it. I like it. That's all the rapid fire I had for you. See, I was tame.
I was like, oh my God, like she's gonna ask me like, what's the biggest plot twist? And I'm just gonna say it. Like, no.
No,
I just,
I
I,
would never.
I just want to say that I was so excited about this like legend that I read them out to my husband and I was like, which power would you choose? And he also chose Earth. So
Because
great choice.
there's just you know, I actually had a quiz. I think it was before we met, but when I was marketing of Stars and Lightning, and it was like choose take this quiz to see what power you would have.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got Flora, like the goddess of Earth and stuff. And then I
Yeah.
ended up getting, I think, Warren, and I was like, no, like I don't want that one.
I'm gonna go back through our text messages because like I texted you a lot when or like our Instagram messages. I texted you so
I was
much
so happy because
while I
nobody
was
really
reading.
does that, and I'm very much motivated by praise of so like, you know, with my publisher, I'm like, please tell me I'm good because I feel like I'm not good. And she's like, yes, you're good, you know. So when she like was messaging me, I was like, oh, this makes my heart so happy. Like I was able to write that day.
It's a
And your
great
publishing
moment.
company, yeah, Conquest Publishing, like they're amazing. They've been so great and like they actually sent me oh gosh, the courtesans.
Oh, really?
The courtesans. I'm the only person who has a physical copy.
Oh
Like
no, I don't even have a that's
yeah.
cool. That's a really good I really want to read that one. I think I'm in line for an arc read.
Yeah, that's so crazy. She was just like, you liked Up Stars and Lightning, you're probably gonna love this. And I feel bad because it's still on my shelf, but girl, I have like over 100 on my TBR, so I'm trying to get through it. But I'm trying to see I think you said Flora for me as well, because you were told me that you had this thing, and I was like, well, what do you
Yeah.
think I would be? And I think you said Flora.
Did I? It's because a lot of most people got Flora. I mean, I think now that I'm talking to you, I don't think I would keep that.
What
Oh,
Maybe.
would you
okay.
say it is
Who would
now?
you for both of us? Who would we be? As I keep getting goosebumps, girl. You're giving me
I honestly, I do, Tyler, see you more as shadows now. I just could see them like around you. Like I see
Oh, I'm
them
a
there.
shadow daddy.
You did say I have a lot of shadows today before we
I
started
did.
recording.
I
Maybe
was
that
like
got stuck in
literally
my
Shadow
head or
Daddy.
something.
Shadow
And
Mommy.
then JV, honestly, I see you. I see you as an earth crawler. I do.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm
Very
a
So
nice.
Virgo, so I am earth-based.
really,
Earth-based? Yeah.
I'm a
I'm pretty sure that
Libra.
is Earth.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is
Virgo's
Earth.
Earth.
Yeah. What are you,
Um,
JV?
I'm a Libra. I'm air.
oh, me too.
You a Libra too?
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
September 29th.
Oh, shut up. That's my birthday.
No.
Oh, that's
I'm never gonna forget you. That's awesome. How
Tyler
fun.
would be a distant memory.
incredible.
I've
Forget
never met
Tyler.
anyone with
Would
more
you like to be my
birthdays.
co-host?
Yeah.
Just push Tyler out. No, that's so cool. I've never met anyone with my birthday.
That's awesome. See?
That's so crazy. You know what's crazy is I am a birthday twin with Jen Plummer
Mm,
from
what's your
Unravel
birthday?
Me the September 4th.
Oh, hey, you're
All
close.
September babies.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's so cool. Also, the audio probably
I
completely
know,
blew out
sorry. I
there.
like screamed into my laptop and then I was like, dang it. And
Sorry, I get super excited.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to recap in case the audio completely cut out and it went completely silent. JV and Melanie both have the same birthday,
We
which is
have the same
crazy.
birthday.
September 29th, they both Libras.
mm-hmm. The
That's
best.
really cool. So what would you choose? You chose Flora for yourself?
No, I would want to be Flora, but I don't think that's
Mm.
who I am. But it's because it's one of like the coolest powers, honestly. I'm really excited to introduce more about Nina, like in the next coming books and her
Hmm.
power. But I feel like I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see myself with anything. Like, I honestly
Oh,
think
hush.
words kind of
You're
fit.
all of them. You're
You're pretty
the
That's
badass.
true.
yeah.
I'm all of them. Um,
Honestly, this is such a good book, and I was actually gonna sit down and like reread like a couple of chapters before I came in because I probably read, I don't know, 15 books since I read this book. So I was worried that I wasn't gonna remember, but as we're sitting down talking, like everything's coming back, and I honestly want to do a reread.
I really need to do a reread of it now that I'm writing the second one, and I'm like, sometimes I'll be writing the second one, and I'm like, did I mention this in the first one? Or like, what
Uh-huh, you
color
have
were
to
this?
remind yourself.
Yeah, what color were this guy's eyes? Like, I think they're
Gray,
hazel.
probably.
Yeah, no, no. So I was thinking about Leo actually, and I was
Oh,
like, when what does he look like? Because he came out only a little bit like at the beginning, but he's
yeah.
he's a big part of the next couple of arcs. So
Ooh,
I know,
Ooh,
so excited. But I
I
forgot what he
literally
looked
can't
like, and I
wait.
was like, man, I'm sorry, my dude. Like, I have to go back and see.
we're getting little hints. I love that.
I
So I have
love
a
giving
question for
spoilers, yeah, but obviously not the biggest spoilers. But
yeah, we don't want to spoil too much for you guys. But I have a question for you. So, I don't know if you know this about JB, but she has her characters that like talk to her. Like they are like fighting to tell their story. Do you find that you have that as well? The characters are just there and they're like, I need to tell
yeah,
my part.
yeah, and
That's
sometimes like I'll
crazy.
come up with something like for them, and then I'll be writing and they don't do it and they do something else. So, and I have a lot of that when I'm beginning a story. Like I'll be sitting there and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, what about if you write about me, right? And it's like just this random new character and I'm like, get out of here. I have to write like something else, you know? But yeah, yeah,
See,
uh,
it's not just me.
it's
They're
No, it's
just
because you
in
guys
there.
are literally born on the same day. That's
That
why.
that
that's
might be it. We're
why.
both a little schizo that way. But I feel the same way. Melanie, I was telling Tyler, I'm like, for me, it's
Yeah.
literally like I'll be on a deadline trying to finish a book, and then suddenly I have two new characters popping into my head, and they're like, "Oh, we're enemies to lovers, and I think you need to write us, and I think we actually grew up together." And like, shut up! I don't have time for you right now.
Can I give you guys like a spoiler of this story that's been haunting me? And it's like it's a witch and detective mystery, murder mystery. And this witch
Ooh,
was exiled from her coven and she kind of runs a tarot shop. And this detective has been trying to solve these cold cases. And his partner's like, look, I get my tarot, my cards read. Let's just go just for fun. And he's like, I hate everything. And then they end up working together and to solve all these
Oh,
murders.
that is a story that has to be written.
It's
yes.
here. It's here and it's all right here. And I'm like, just give me a couple of months to finish what I'm writing. But that's the story that's been really talking to me.
How do you
Mhm.
know that you have 6 books in your brain?
Because I have one specific thing that has to happen in each book. Um,
Okay.
like
Your pillar.
I may be a pantser, but I know exactly what like the main points of each book. So I know like of Stars and Lightning was like the trials. Right? So that was that. And then the second one has its thing, third one. And so each big thing ends up being 6 books, unless I end up adding stuff between it and maybe more. But yeah. So there's like 6
Okay.
big reveals, big things
Yep,
that
you
happen
have
throughout
like
the
the big
story.
things. And do you usually start with the big things? So when I start writing, I usually like, I'm the same way. I start somewhere in the middle. I never start at chapter one. I don't write in chronological order until I'm like way deep in.
Yeah.
I usually write like the big thing that pops into my head first, and then everything kind of grows around it.
So I used to do that, or I do that normally, right? But with this rewrite for of Season Storms, I'm forcing myself to write chronologically. So I have one alpha reader who I pay $10
Mm.
per chapter for her to read it, right? So that
Oof.
it's like for me to so I have to go in chronological order because she's already read Of Stars and Lightning, and now I have to give her chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, and she sends me like 3-page reports per chapter.
Wow.
Wow, that's really
Yeah,
good.
and it's really good because I get to see one how I'm doing from the views of a reader, and then I have to pay her, so I have to give it to her because she already has the money,
Mm.
right? But I'm forcing myself to do chronological order that way. And it just works better because it like follows the emotions better. And my characters are very much like deep in their heads. They feel a lot of stuff. So if I write out of order there, it kind of loses that luster, you know?
Hmm.
Hmm.
But I do have some scenes already written of like the end and stuff like that, but they're like tucked away, you know, and I'm like, not gonna look at those.
That's crazy to just sit on those kind of
It's
scenes
so
and
bad.
just
It's so
that's
bad. And like nobody understands. And I tell my husband, I'm like, can I tell you? And he like, there's too much. Or I tell my mom and she's just like, wait, you're losing me. And I'm like, like,
But I just want to share. I know, and it's the same with spoilers, right? You just want to tell the whole world about it, and it's like, no, I have to wait a few months before it's out. I don't want to,
yep.
but I want to tell you all so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just stuck with it in my head. But when it comes out, it's gonna be so good. Like the biggest spoiler right now that I'm waiting for you guys to read will be at the end of book 3. It was supposed to be the end of book
Oh,
2, but
wow.
something happened
Man, you're
and
gonna make us wait really long.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I'm writing. And this is the one thing that I knew before I started writing that was gonna happen. This is the one thing that everything revolves around. So at the end of book 3. And I'm gonna be so happy when everybody knows. Like,
Oh,
You're like,
crazy.
I'm glad it's out.
yeah.
Okay. I think we probably need to wrap this up.
All right, Melanie. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It has been an absolute honor, a blast. Before we wrap things up, the mic is yours. Tell the people what you got going on in your life.
As far as books, I really just have Of Stars and Lightning going on right now, and I'm writing the sequel. Yep. I did a, a short, I did write a prequel to Of Stars and Lightning that came out in an anthology a couple months ago. It shows actually Irene's vows. So if y'all are down to read that, it's still part of the anthology. It's called, dang it. Uh, Blooming Bloom some oh my goodness, hold on. It's part of an anthology that if you guys want to know about, you can reach out or it's on my Instagram. It's
Okay.
about 10,000 words, so it's like chapter and a half. And yeah, so I have that and I have just Of Stars and Lightning going on right now. It's too much for me to have other things going on except for that.
And where can people find you?
On Instagram, I'm more active, so it's at So Saw Nin, and actually that is I don't know if anyone has put it together, but at Soul So Saw Sawyer and Nin Nina. So it's my three main leads. Yeah,
I did not put that together at all.
it's my three main girls. When I started all my socials, they were just part of me, and yeah. So that's my social handle for everything, and I'm just on Instagram. I'm super open and ready to chat there if anyone wants to.
Awesome. And your books are available where?
Amazon, Kindle, any place books are sold, mostly online, Barnes and Nobles, and like print to order. Um, yeah,
Same thing with Indigo. If you're in Canada, it's print to order on Indigo as well.
nice.
Well, Melanie, thank you so much for joining us today. We had a great time chatting with you.
Thank you. I loved this.
I hope we didn't
Good.
wake your daughter.
Oh, she's been screaming the past hour, but she'll be okay.
Well, you got really good noise cancellation because we can't hear nothing.
She's over there in her room with her dad, but she wants me because she's super clingy. But yeah, no,
Oh,
let's do this again sometime. Maybe when my second book comes out and I can finally have everything
Absolutely.
going on.
We'd love to have you.
Yes, thank
totally.
you.
All right. Well, thank you. Go be a mom, author, wife.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You guys
Badass.
have a
Badass.
good day.
All
All
right.
right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.